Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is the 29th September 2024. In this video, I'm going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers. First, I will identify the stocks near demand and supply zones. In this process, I will also identify price closed inside demand and supply zones for monthly, weekly and daily time frame, and also further filter based on EMA Confluence. Apart from that, we will also identify daily and 75 minutes high liquidity zones. Okay, first I am starting with half yearly time frame. Stocks near half yearly demand zone. No stocks are available. I am going back and half yearly time frame. Let's find the stocks near half yearly supply zone. One stock is filtered. I am giving you only few seconds time to watch the report. I request you pause the video, study this report, and then proceed with the next report. In case if you don't understand how to study this report, I request you complete lesson 21.1. In that video, I have explained each and every column, their values, abbreviations in detail. Okay, next time frame is quarterly. Stocks near quarterly demand zone. Two stocks are filtered. Next, quarterly time frame. Stocks near quarterly supply zone. 5 stocks are filtered. Next time frame is monthly. Stocks near monthly demand zone. 5 stocks are filtered. Next monthly time frame. Stocks near monthly supply zone. 8 stocks are filtered. Next monthly time frame. Price closed inside monthly demand zone, and these monthly demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, monthly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means zone is not pierced. So 18 stocks are filtered, where currently price closed in these 18 monthly demand zones. Out of these 18 monthly demand zones, some stocks are having high probability. One is based on high liquidity zones. You can identify here in this column, high liquidity zones. Or you can also verify in the zone column. Okay, further we can filter based on the EMA Confluence. Monthly demand zones having monthly EMA Confluence. Let's verify in the EMA Confluence. Monthly time frame. Monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA Confluence filter is enabled. But EMA Confluence makes sense only in the trending market, not in sideways. So that's why sideways we have to eliminate. So in the trend zone based on zone violation at monthly time frame, I am selecting only up or down. Now 10 stocks are filtered. In these 10 monthly demand zones, currently prices are closed inside the monthly demand zone, and these monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA Confluence. That way you can use these monthly zones for HTF zones, and then you can prepare your trade setups. Okay, next monthly time frame. Price closed inside monthly supply zones. These monthly supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at monthly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means monthly supply zones are not pierced. So total 9 monthly supply zones are filtered here. In these 9, a few zones might be having EMA Confluence. Let's verify. So in the EMA Confluence monthly time frame, monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA Confluence. But EMA Confluence makes sense only in the trending, but not sideways. So we have to eliminate sideways based zones. So in monthly time frame, zone violation should be either, trend based on zone violation should be either up or down. Now let's verify. So we don't have any monthly supply zones having monthly EMA Confluence. Okay, this is about monthly time frame. Next, let us verify. Next time frame is weekly. For weekly time frame, price closed inside weekly, price near weekly demand zone. Price near weekly demand zone, we got 9 stocks. Next, weekly time frame, price near weekly supply zone, we got more stocks. These are the first 15 stocks. I am scrolling the list down. So total 18 stocks are filtered. Okay, next weekly time frame, price closed inside weekly demand zone. These weekly demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a weekly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means weekly demand zones are not pierced. We got 17 stocks. Excuse me. Out of these 17, some high liquidity demand zones are available. You can find them in this column. Okay, we can also filter further based on weekly demand zone having weekly EMA Confluence. So in the EMA Confluence filter at weekly time frame, I am enabling the filter weekly demand zone having weekly EMA Confluence. But weekly EMA Confluence makes sense only in the trending, but not in sideways market. That's why trend based on zone violation at weekly time frame, I am selecting up or down trend. Now let's filter. We got only 5 stocks. In these 5 weekly demand zones, they are having weekly EMA Confluence. And the weekly trend is LTF. All are uptrend. And all these stocks are closed inside the weekly demand zone, and these demand zones are having weekly EMA Confluence. You can use these weekly zones either HTF zones or ITF zones, and then you can prepare your trade setups. Okay, next for weekly time frame, price closed inside weekly supply zone. And these weekly supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, weekly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means weekly supply zones are not pierced. So we got a good list, good number of stocks. So many weekly zones, currently price is closed in many weekly supply zones. Even NIFTY 50 also price closed inside weekly supply zone. So I'm scrolling the list down. Further I am scrolling the list. So total 45 weekly supply zones are filtered. So we can identify high probability setup weekly supply zones. One is based on the high liquidity zones, one approach, and another approach is based on EMA Confluence. Let's verify in the EMA Confluence. weekly time frame, weekly supply zones having weekly EMA Confluence filter is enabled. But this EMA Confluence makes sense only in the trending market, not in sideways. So that's why in the trend based on the zone violation at a weekly time frame, I am selecting either up or downtrend but not sideways. Now let's further filter the stocks. Now list is reduced, but still we have good number of stocks. These are the first 15 stocks. Some of the high liquidity zones are there. I am scrolling the list down. So total 21 stocks are filtered. In these 21 stocks, prices are closed inside the weekly supply zone, and all these weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA Confluence. Now based on this, these weekly supply zones you can use either as a HTF zone or ITF zone, and then you can prepare your own trade setups. So this is about weekly time frame, and the next time frame is daily. Entry time frame daily. Let us find the stocks near daily demand zone. So 6 stocks are filtered. So let us filter high liquidity zones from this list. High liquidity daily demand zones. We have only one stock, NTPC. So one high liquidity daily demand zone we identified from this list. Stocks near the demand zones. Okay, next daily time frame. Let's find the stocks near daily supply zone. We got a big list. So 16 stocks are filtered. So let's identify high liquidity supply zones from this list. But net rate is pierced, so it's not valid. Laurus Labs is having a high liquidity daily supply zone, having 6 rejections from this zone. Next, LIC is having, this is a newly listed stock into the F&O. Next, Pidilite Industries having high liquidity supply zone. Next, Polycap. So total 4 high liquidity supply zones we identified. One is a Laurus Lab, another one is a LIC, third one is Pidilite, and fourth one is a Polycap. So we have identified 4 valid high liquidity daily supply zones from this list. Okay. Next, daily time frame. Let's find price closed inside the daily demand zone, and these daily demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means daily demand zones are not pierced. Let's filter. We got 8 stocks. Currently price closed in these 8 demand zones. And in these demand zones, some of the demand zones are high liquidity demand zones. That way you can identify high probability zones. And we can also identify high probability zones based on EMA Confluence, daily demand zones with daily EMA Confluence. So in the EMA Confluence parameter at a daily time frame, I am enabling the filter daily demand zone having daily EMA Confluence. But EMA Confluence makes sense only in the trending market, but not sideways. So that's why in the trend based on zone violation, in the daily time frame, I am selecting up or down trend, but not sideways. Let's filter. we got only 3 stocks. Currently price closed in these 3 daily demand zones, and these daily demand zones are having a daily EMA confluence. Based on that, you can use these daily zones, either HTF or ITF. That way you can prepare your trade setups. Okay, next for daily time frame, price closed inside daily supply zone, and in these daily supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means daily supply zone is not pierced. Let's filter the stocks. We got a big list. These are the first 15 stocks where price closed inside the daily supply zones. From this list, some high probability stocks you can identify by looking into the high liquidity zones in this column. I am scrolling the list down. I am further scrolling the list down. So total 39 stocks are filtered. In all these 39 stocks, currently price closed inside the daily supply zone. Okay, and we can also further filter these stocks based on EMA confluence. So daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. Let's filter in the EMA confluence at a daily time frame. Daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled, but always remember EMA confluence makes sense only in the trending market but not sideways. So that's why in the trend calculated based on zone violation, in this trend at a daily time frame, I am selecting either up or down trend but not sideways. Now let's filter the stocks. Now the list is come down to 9 stocks. Currently price is closed in these 9 daily supply zones, and these 9 supply zones, daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence. Now you can use these daily supply zones either as a HTF zone or ITF zone, and based on that you can prepare your trade setups. So this is about daily time frame. Next time frame is 125 minutes. Stocks near 125 minutes demand zone, 11 stocks are filtered. Next 125 minutes time frame, stocks near 125 minute supply zone, we got 13 stocks. Okay, next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let's find the stocks near to the 75 minutes demand zone. We got 14 stocks. Out of these 14, we can find some high liquidity 75 minutes demand zone. Let's verify. Okay, we have only one stock filtered, Supreme Industries. This is again a newly added stock into the F&O segment. That's it. We have identified only one daily high liquidity demand zone from this list. Okay, next for 75 minutes time frame, stocks near 75 minutes supply zone. Let's filter. We got 4 stocks. Are there any high liquidity supply zones? Let's find. No, we don't have any high liquidity daily supply zones from the, high liquidity 75-minute supply zones from this list. We don't have any stocks. Okay, this is about 75 minutes time frame. Next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near 25 minutes demand zone. We got 14 stocks. Next 25 minutes time frame. Stocks near 25 minutes supply zone. We got 10 stocks. Okay, the next time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near 15 minutes demand zone. We got 7 stocks. Out of these 7, how many are having ITF demand zone confluence? Let's filter. So in the demand zone confluence, I'm enabling the filter for 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. With this filter, out of 7, we got 2 stocks. Okay, next 15 minutes time frame. Stocks near 15 minutes supply zone. We got 13 stocks. Out of these 13, how many are having ITF supply zone confluence? That is a 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. I'm enabling this filter. And with this filter, we got 5 stocks. In all these 5 supply zones, the 15 minute supply zones are part of the 75 minute supply zone. That is what zone confluence. Okay, this is about 15 minutes time frame. Next time frame is 5 minutes. Stocks near 5 minutes demand zone. We got 13 stocks. Out of these 13, how many of these stocks are having ITF demand zone confluence? That is 5 minutes demand zone with 15 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, we got 5 stocks. In all these 5 stocks, the 5 minutes, these are all 5 minutes demand zones. But these 5 minutes demand zones are part of the 15 minutes demand zone. They are overlapped with 15 minutes demand zones. That is what? Zone confluence. That is LTF and ITF zone confluence. Demand zone confluence. Okay, next for 5 minutes time frame, stocks near 5 minutes supply zone, we got 10 stocks. Out of these 10, how many of these 5 minute supply zones are having ITF confluence? LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 5 minute supply zone having confluence with 15 minute supply zone. I enabled that filter. With this filter, we got 4 stocks. In these 4 stocks, these 5 minute supply zones are part of the 15 minute supply zone. So this is about stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. We also identified daily and 75 minutes high liquidity zones. Okay, next set of reports are about NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. Starting with NIFTY, monthly time frame, generating monthly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Always look into the zone column to find the high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. Look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. So this is the way you should understand the remaining reports. Okay, next report, generating weekly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 125-minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Okay, next 75-minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Okay, next 25-minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next 15-minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next 5-minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. If you want more demand zones, I am scrolling the list further. Okay, this is about NIFTY supply demand zone chain. Next, I will generate a BANKNIFTY. That is nothing but NIFTY Bank. Starting with monthly time frame, generating monthly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Okay, next weekly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next daily supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next 125-minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next 75-minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Okay, next 25-minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next 15-minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Okay, next 5-minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. So it's about BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. We have completed both NIFTY and BANKNIFTY. And the next set of reports are about bullish and bearish trade setup. First, let's start with the bullish trade setup for monthly income trade, entry time frame daily, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at entry time frame daily, I am selecting bullish. This daily demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter, at entry time frame daily, I am selecting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means the daily demand zone should not be pierced. Zone achievement should always be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All the three filters are applied to daily demand zone. Now let's filter how many stocks we get. So good number of stocks. The first 16 stocks in this list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 23 stocks are filtered. These 23 stocks are currently supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. The entry zones are daily demand zones. Out of these 23 daily demand zones, there could be some high probability supported zones might be available. We need to find them. So we can filter based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. This is the first filter. LTF and ITF, that means daily and weekly demand zone confluence. I'm enabling that filter. With this filter, we got 13 stocks. That means in all these 13 stocks, the daily demand zones are part of the weekly demand zone. And the weekly trend is up in all these stocks because they are supporting bullish trade setup. Weekly trend means ITF. So that's why if any of these weekly demand zones are having, they are even more high probability trade setups. Why weekly demand zone with weekly EMA confluence? Because the daily demand zone is a part of the weekly demand zone. That is what zone confluence. So that's why we are looking for weekly EMA confluence. So in the EMA confluence at a weekly time frame, weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, now the list is reduced to 5 stocks. So these 5 stocks are even more high probability setup supported stocks. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing the EMA filter. So in the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, that is daily demand zone with weekly demand zone. Next filter is daily demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. And third filter is weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got only 1 stock. And this daily demand zone is a high liquidity demand zone. If this demand zone is having monthly EMA confluence. Why monthly? Because the daily zone is part of weekly demand zone, both together again part of the monthly demand zone. So that's why monthly demand zone with monthly EMA confluence, this stock could be even more high probability trade setup. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence filter is enabled, and that stock is not having any EMA confluence. Okay, this is about monthly income trades, bullish trade setup. Next, monthly income trade, bearish trade setup. Entry time frame daily, entry zone is supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at a daily time frame, I am selecting bearish. This daily supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, the pierced count, at a daily time frame, minimum value I am setting 0, maximum value I am setting 0. Zone achievement, violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score is 12. With all the 3 filters, we got 3 stocks. Currently these 3 stocks only supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry time frame zones are daily supply zones. All the 3 supply zones are daily supply zones. So in these 3, there could be some high probability setup supported daily supply zones might be available. Let's find them. The first filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is daily and weekly supply zone confluence. So I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, all the 3 stocks are filtered. That means in all the 3 stocks, the daily supply zones are part of the weekly supply zones. And the weekly trend is down in all the 3 stocks. Weekly trend is ITF trend. If any of these stocks are having, supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, at a weekly time frame, because the daily zone is part of the weekly zone. So weekly supply zone with weekly EMA Confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, out of 3 we got only one stock. Okay, this is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. Now let us look for LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. Removing this EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, daily with the weekly supply zone confluence. Next, daily supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence, and weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, supply zone confluence, we got only one stock. Let's check if this supply zone is having monthly EMA confluence. So in the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, because the daily and weekly together part of the monthly zone, monthly supply zone. So that's why monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, the stock is filtered. So it's even more high probability trade setup supported stock. So this is about monthly income trade bearish trade setup. Next, weekly income trade bullish trade setup. Entry time frame is 75 minutes. Entry zone is demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at entry time frame 75 minutes, I am selecting bullish. This 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means 75 minutes demand zone is not pierced. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd and enhanced score should be 12. All the 3 filters are applied to 75 minutes demand zone. Now let's filter. We got 8 stocks. Currently these 8 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. The entry time frame is 75 minutes demand zones. Okay, out of these 8, how many are having EMA confluence? Zone confluence, LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. I mean, LTF is 75 minutes, ITF is daily. So 75 minutes demand zone confluence with daily demand zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, we got 5 stocks. In all these 5 stocks, the 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone. Okay, the daily trend is uptrend, that is ITF trend is uptrend. If any of these daily demand zones are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled. So with this filter, we got only one stock. Daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. That is ITF demand zone. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. First we need to remove this EMA filter. I removed it. So in the demand zone confluence, already one filter is enabled, that is a 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. 2 more filters, 75 minutes demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence, daily demand zone with a weekly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got 4 stocks. In all these 4 stocks, the 75 minutes entry demand zone is part of the daily demand zone. Both together again part of the weekly demand zone. And the weekly trend is up for the 2nd and 4th stock. If any of these stocks are weekly demand zones are having, weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence, there could be even more high probability setup. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, weekly time frame, weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. With this filter, we got 3 stocks. The second one is you can ignore because it is sideways, but first one and the third one, There are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay, this is about bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame is 75 minutes. Entry zone is supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at 75 minutes time frame, I am selecting bearish. These 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at entry time frame 75 minutes, I am selecting a minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means 75 minute supply zone is not pierced. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum order enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to 75 minute supply zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 8 stocks. Currently these 8 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade, and entry time frame and entry zones are 75 minute supply zones. All the supply zones are 75 minute supply zones. Out of these 8 75 minute supply zones, there could be even more high probability setup supported zones might be available. We need to find them based on different filters. First filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence. So I am enabling the filter 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With this filter we got 7 stocks, all 7 stocks. In all these 7 stocks, the 75 minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone. Okay, daily trend is down. Daily means ITF. Because daily trend is down, if any of these daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, there are even more high probability trade setup stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame. Why daily? Because 75 minute supply zone is a part of the daily supply zone. So that's why daily supply zone with daily EMA confluence filter enabled. So with this filter out of 7, we did not get any stocks. So that means currently none of those daily zones are not having EMA confluence. Actually I made a mistake here. I have to look for supply zone confluence, because entry zone is supply zone. So that's why daily supply zone with daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we got 2 stocks. So these 2 stocks are even more high probability setup supported stocks. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. So first I have to remove this EMA filter. I removed it. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we need to set. First filter is already enabled, that is 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Next 2 filters, 75 minute supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence, daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, supply zone confluence, we got 4 stocks. So in these 4 stocks, the entry time frame 75 minute supply zone is part of the daily supply zone. Both together again part of the weekly supply zone. And the weekly trend, that is HTF, weekly trend is a downtrend, all the stocks except the second one. So in those except second, remaining 3 stocks are having a weekly EMA confluence with weekly zones. It could be even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, weekly time frame, weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got 2 stocks. Out of these 2, second one is sideways, you can ignore it. First one is high probability trade setup supported 75 minute supply zone. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, bullish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone is demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes entry time frame, I am selecting bullish. This 15 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to 15 minutes demand zone. Now let's verify. We got 12 stocks. Currently these 12 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade. The entry time frame or entry zones are 15 minutes demand zones. All these are all 15 minutes demand zones in this list. Out of these 12 15 minutes demand zones, there could be some high probability trade setup supported stocks based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is a 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I enable the filter. With this filter, we get LTF, ITF demand zone confluence stocks. So 10 stocks are filtered. That means in these 10 stocks, the 15 minutes demand zones, all these 15 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone. And daily trend is, not 75 minutes demand zone. 15 minutes demand zones are part of the 75 minutes demand zones. And 75 minutes is ITF. So ITF trend is up in all the stocks. If any of these 75 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, 75 minutes time frame, 75 minutes demand zone with daily EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got 3 stocks. So these 3 are high probability trade setup supported stocks based on EMA confluence and zone confluence. Okay, next let us filter based on LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. We need to remove EMA filter. I removed it. And in the demand zone confluence, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, that is 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. Next 15 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. And 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence with all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got 6 stocks. So in all these 6 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are part of the 75 minutes demand zone, both together again part of the daily demand zone. So HTF is daily. So currently this HTF trend is uptrend in all these stocks except the third one. So the remaining stocks, 5 stocks, if the daily demand zone is having daily EMA confluence, it is even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at daily time frame, because of the 15 minutes demand zone together with 75 minutes demand zone are part of the daily demand zone. That's why if daily demand zone is having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. So all these 4 stocks are filtered. Out of 5, 4. So remove the third one because the trend is sideways. So remaining stocks, first, second and fourth are even more high probability setup supported stocks. So this is about bullish trade setup for daily income trade. So next report, bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone is supply zone. And in bullish or bearish trade setup, at 15 minutes entry time frame, I am selecting bearish. These 15 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I'm setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum order enhancer score 12. And all the three filters are applied to 15-minute supply zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 10 stocks. Currently these 10 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. The entry zones are 15-minute supply zones. In all these 10 15-minute supply zones, there could be some high probability trade setup supported stocks. We can filter based on different zone confluences. First one is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence, because these are the entry zones or supply zones. That means a 15-minute supply zone confluence with 75-minute supply zone confluence, LTF and ITF. So I'm enabling that filter. So with this filter, we got 9 stocks. In all these 9 stocks, the 15 minutes entry zone supply zones are part of the 75 minute supply zones. And the 75 minutes trend is ITF trend, is a downtrend. If any of these 75 minute supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported zones. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, I am selecting the filter 75 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence. With this filter we got 8 stocks. So all these 8 stocks are even more high probability trade setup supported, bearish trade setup supported stocks. But few stocks are sideways, we have to eliminate them. So except third and fifth, remaining 6 stocks are having more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay, next let us filter based on LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. I am removing EMA filter. So in the supply zone confluence, we need to set 3 filters. Out of 3, 1 filter is already enabled. That is 15-minute supply zone with 75-minute supply zone confluence. Next filter is 15-minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence, and 75-minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence, we got 6 stocks. In all these 6 stocks, the entry time frame 15-minute supply zones are part of the 75-minute supply zone. Both together again part of the daily supply zone. And the daily trend is down in all these stocks except second and fourth, because they are sideways. Remaining 4 stocks, if daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, they could be even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's filter in the EMA confluence at a daily time frame. Why daily? Because 75 minutes, 15 minutes supply zone together with 75 minute supply zone are part of the daily supply zone. Part means they are overlapped. So that's why daily supply zone with the daily EMA confluence, if they are having, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's filter. We got all the 5 stocks. So in the 5, the second and the fourth you need to eliminate because the trend is sideways. So remaining 3 stocks, the trend is a downtrend. So they are even more high probability supported bearish trade setup stocks for daily income trade. So this is about bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And in the final report, let us generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. First 17 in this list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks but listed in F&O. I am scrolling the list down, whichever the stock you want to refer, there you please pause the video. Okay, I am scrolling the list down. So this is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for your further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.